Good morning, YouTube viewers and subscribers. So in the last few days or last week or so, I've been doing some videos regarding a Saito FA-65 Gen 1 failure mode that I saw and received the parts of that engine on. And I thought this would be just about as good a time as any to pull out one of the two operational FA-65 Gen 1 engines that I have. Now this one is in full stock trim. I'm using the exhaust that came with the engine that Gene sent me, because that is the actual exhaust that came with the engine, along with the satin rocker covers, air bleed carb, the whole 9 yards. Everything on this is bone stock to what that, I think it was 86, 87 version of the FA-65 Gen 1. They didn't call it Gen 1, they just said FA-65 engine and how it came. The only thing I don't have on here is a slide choke mechanism, which is really not a big deal for operational characteristics. I do have an APC 13.6 prop on here. You know, that actually looks like a Hangar 9 super plug in here, which would be a modern variant of what Horizon Hobby was selling with these engines, with later Saito engines. So that's the plug it looks like I've got in here, and I've got a special mixture of fuel. I've been playing around with mixtures of fuel, and what I've got here is I made up a mason jar container, 6 ounces of my S&W 12.5% fuel and 6 ounces of my 80-20 FAI fuel. So that turns out to be about a 6.25% nitro content fuel with 23% oil. So that's what's in this tank here. I do not have this set up to do static thrust. The KMB 65 Sportster is still on that side of the stand. So I'm just going to show you, for those of you that haven't seen it in a while or are curious about what a stock vintage 1987 or so Gen 1 Saito FA-65 looks and sounds like, and how it runs. This is it. I'm telling you, man, engines from the 80s rock. This engine just is so kick-ass, it's not even funny. Because of the fact that this has the old style air bleed carb, and the only other Saito engine, single cylinder Saito engine that had this style of carb, was the very early FA-120. And I think what happened was they found out that a lot of people were having difficulty tuning it. Now, in a previous run on this thing, this particular carb doesn't really like to just have the throttle chopped. On a regular twin needle carb, not a problem. But on this air bleed carb, what happens is trying to get that idle just low enough, balancing the air bleed screw with the throttle stop screw is a real balancing act. And when you've got it at that speed and it's fine, then you advance it really fast. It has excellent transition, but when you pull it back real fast, it tends to want to overcompensate one way or the other. It'll come down, and a lot of times it'll die. So that's why you'd see that I was actually bringing it back to idle rather slowly so that it wouldn't just die out. And I have a feeling that may have been one of the reasons why Saito went and changed the carb design to the more modern traditional twin needle carb, because I have a feeling that many people were having a difficult time actually trying to tune this thing properly and get a nice reliable idle. And I also have a feeling that if they were chopping the throttle too fast, it would do that overcompensation thing and die. But I mean, this engine is a maniac. It's just awesome. It was turning over 10,000 RPM with this 13.6 prop. That's a pretty killer engine. So I hope you enjoyed watching this and hearing this beautiful engine from the 80s run, because it's really a classic, and certainly one that if you can ever find one that's complete and in good working order, it's a very good collector's piece, but it's also an excellent runner. So there you have it. Thank you for watching.